Hi Carol. I thought I would make you a video just with some beginning ideas and try to answer some of the questions that you have. So here we go. Let's see. First of all, you have to have a chair that you really like, that can't have too soft of a cushion, but I actually sit on a piano stool, and if you have an adjustable piano stool, then you can adjust it. I like it slightly highish so that your hips, I'm on a chair now, but if your hip is like a tiny bit higher than the knee, maybe like an inch higher at the most. If it's too high, that's no good. And I sit on the edge of my chair. There's a zillion ways to play the cello, but this is how I play and how I teach most of my students. I keep my feet flat on the floor. I don't think it's good to keep your heels in the air. Some people do that, but I think it puts tension at the back of your calves. And a good way to decide how far to pull your end pin out is like hold your cello with both hands. I'll put my bow down right here, and where you feel comfortable with it leaning against your chest. In other words, say you're standing, you pull it up to here like that, and then if you like it here, then adjust the end pin, whatever that length that is, to the floor. So you kind of put the cello here, and that's how I do it. Now, my cello is great because I have a posture peg, which is actually a cello peg that's been chopped off. And the way you tune it is there's a special little key you stick in there to tune, but I find that the C string almost never goes out of tune a lot, so I just use the fine tuners. Now this, having a posture peg, you can have it for your C string or C and G pegs. I just have it on the C, but it's great because it means I can free up my neck. And the trouble with cello is that if your torso is just the wrong length, like from hip to shoulder, then those pegs can really annoy you and give you a lot of problems, which I think they did to me over many years, and I have a couple of issues with the vertebrae in my neck. So it's really nice to get those posture pegs put on your cello. Some people play more like this, but usually you have to have very long hip to knee length, or using a bent end pin. So this is kind of a standardish way to play. Now, intonation and slurring were things that you were wondering about. Intonation, I teach something called to my young children, I call it the advanced sliding thumb technique, and they think that's really something great. To you, I will just call it sliding thumb. And what I mean by that is that instead of keeping your hand in a blocked position, you play with your thumb, say, behind first finger, and then when you're moving, say you're going to go from first finger to third, you would let your first finger stay there, slide your thumb, reach to where your third finger should be, and then release everything. You never want to squeeze with your left thumb. And I'll tell you a good way to prevent that in a second. So like 3 to 4, you go from third finger to 4, let the thumb slide a tiny bit. Or from first finger to 2, let the thumb slide a tiny bit. Or from second to 4, same thing, you let it slide. So basically you're playing like, let's see if I can show you from the side. Say I'm playing low A. So from first finger, thumb slides about 2 inches or so. Or from first finger to fourth finger. So So that's how you get from note to note in one position without tension, because it's really bad to keep your hand like this, and it also makes it harder to do vibrato. Now, a way to try to get rid of thumb tension is you can play a scale like this, say open G, first finger A. While you're playing the A with your bow or just plucking it, just wiggle your thumb. Just wiggle it a little bit. And then stretch to B, wiggle your thumb, play pinky, wiggle thumb, open D. Now it's like you have to shift, because if you're playing the note C on the G string with your fingers kind of bunched like this, which is good because there's no tension this way, it's like you have to shift to get back to the first finger E. Okay, so that's called the sliding thumb technique, and that's how I play. It's in all the lower positions, like first, second, third. After third, and once you get to fourth position, you don't need to do that because your thumb pretty much stays in. I call this the saddle, this curvy bit. Now, that's another thing about the thumb is that I talk about having a C curve like this. So say you're on the A string, your thumb is going to be pretty much at the back, right in the center of the cello neck. If you imagine an imaginary line right down the back of the cello neck, right down the center this way, your thumb should touch that line right in the center of the cello when you're playing on the A string. But now as you move to the D, it's got to go a little bit towards the left, just a tiny bit, maybe half a centimeter more to G, and then a little bit more to C. So by the time when you're playing on the C string, you want to keep your thumb on the left side, on the A string side of the neck. My voice is going because I just finished teaching. Let's see. So say I'm on the A string. This also has to do with the elbow because you want to keep a straight wrist. So say this is my A string position, D string, G, C. Elbow's got to be pretty high to play on the C string. And the elbow also goes high as you go to higher positions. So a good way to practice this is to play something like, I'll do a little plucking exercise. We're going to play first finger and second finger, so. Okay, just play first finger, second finger on each string. You don't even need to pluck it, you could just practice with the left hand. Now, something else is going on with my thumb, what I told you about before. The thumb is sliding up and back a little bit too, up and down this way as you go to a higher finger. This goes up. So the thumb goes this way and that way. I know I'm probably totally making you crazed now, but that's what it does. So it's better to practice just on one string at first and see if you can get the sliding thumb going vertically. You have to do it descending to that sliding thumb. Try to do some patterns like I just played 4-3-1-0. 4-3-1-0. Okay, I'll do that on the A string. 4-3-1. Or 4-2. So if you're going a whole step, the thumb slides a lot. Maybe even 3 inches. And if you're going a half step, it slides about 1 inch. Okay, I highly recommend that because if you don't do that, you're never going to play in tune. Seriously, whenever my students are out of tune, it's always 2 reasons. Either their thumb is locked, or they're not listening. So if their thumb is able to move, all they have to do is listen, hear the pitch in your head, and